Okay, we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream, 8 p.m. It is the 18th of May. It is 2. A later start than usual. Family commitments keeping me from starting at the usual time of 7:35, but we're here, 8 p.m. Sunday evening, looking at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press here in Spain. We'll look at some comments that have been left on the channel 2 by viewers, and we'll go into the live chat also and check out what is happening in that live chat section, so stay tuned for that. Straight into the news, and the protesters are back at it in the Canary Islands, hitting the streets again, calling on politicians to do something about the saturated tourism model that they have in that part of Spain, and locals there complaining that they don't see the benefits of the mass tourism model. As we can read here, citizen protests return to the Canary Islands demanding more sustainable tourism. Protests have returned to the Canaries as thousands of residents took to the streets to demand more sustainable tourism policies. Organised by social and environmental groups, the demonstrations, under the slogan, "The Canary Islands have a limit," were held across all islands and echoed in mainland cities like Madrid, Valencia and Barcelona, as well as abroad in Berlin. Protesters highlighted ongoing concerns about unaffordable housing, low wages and exploitative working conditions, especially in the hospitality sector. In Santa Cruz de Tenerife, demonstrators carried banners reading "No to Waste Dumping," "Canary Biodiversity Has Limits," and "Eco-Tax Now," while chanting slogans like "Less cement, more sense," and "Where is the tourism money?" Similar scenes unfolded in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, where the focus was again on housing issues. Despite record tourism profits, many locals feel excluded from its benefits and are calling for urgent reforms to ensure economic and environmental sustainability. So that is it. Canary Islands hitting the streets, as I said, protesting "No to waste dumping," biodiversity has a limit there, and eco-tax now. Some of the chants that were being thrown around today at the protests in the Canaries, Santa Cruz de Tenerife and Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, I think, were the main places there. And we saw other cities as well. Madrid, I think, was listed there. Valencia, Barcelona and Berlin also claiming or complaining, let's say, about the tourism model that is not helping their quality of life. That would be the issue. Second piece of news now, and tension between Eurovision and state broadcaster in Spain, RTVE, over Spanish commentators' references to the Gaza conflict. Tensions have arisen between Eurovision organisers and Spain's public broadcaster, RTVE, over political statements related to the Gaza conflict. Prior to the Eurovision final, RTVE displayed a message on screen in both Spanish and English, calling for peace and justice for Palestine, stating, when human rights are at stake, silence is not an option. While Spanish commentators Tony Aguilar and Julia Varela presented Israel's performance without political comment, the European Broadcasting Union had previously warned RTVE that further references to Gaza could result in financial penalties. The EBU communicated this threat to Ana Maria Bordas, Spain's Eurovision delegation chief and soon-to-be head of the reference group. In response, RTVE's internal media councils issued a statement on Saturday night expressing concern over what they view as censorship and defending their journalists' freedom to speak. The incident has intensified debate over free speech and the limits of political expression during major cultural broadcasts. And of course, Spain's poor result in the Eurovision Song Contest being blamed for these political comments that were put out on Spanish television, as we saw there in the lead up to the final, which took place on Saturday night. So more issues for Spain regarding this conflict. The Spanish government is leading the charge in Europe to get the Palestinian state recognized, as we have seen. They're also now trying to get the Israelis into some type of court of justice, I believe, and holding the flag or raising the flag for the Palestinian conflict or the Palestinian side in the conflict is the Spanish government, and sentiments there echoed by the national broadcaster. And as I said, the poor result, second last, Spain came. Lots of people thought that Spain was in with a chance this year. Not the case because of those political statements. Allegedly, that is what is being blamed for the poor performance, as I said. Third piece of news now, and this one here, the far left in Spain, the Izquierda Unida, has warned Prime Minister Sanchez that raising defence spending to 5% of GDP is unacceptable and would ruin Spain. Izquierda Unida leader Antonio Maillo has strongly criticised the possibility of Spain raising defence spending to 5% of GDP, warning it would be unacceptable and amount to national ruin. Speaking in Cartagena, Maillo responded to recent remarks by NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who expressed confidence that Spain would reach this level, possibly to be confirmed at NATO's June summit in The Hague. Maillo, whose party is part of the Sumar alliance in Spain's coalition government, argued that allocating 5% of GDP to defence would effectively dismantle Spain's social policy, as that figure mirrors the country's entire education budget. He asserted that rearmament is incompatible with safeguarding social rights and called for citizens to protest the proposed increase. He also warned that if Sanchez's government lines with Europe's far right on defence policy, it will lose its identity. Maillo urged Spain to embrace its pacifist tradition and reject further militarization. So the far left in Spain, the Izquierda Unida, part of the Sumar alliance, saying that Spain, not a good idea to dedicate 5% of GDP to defence, which Prime Minister Sanchez has hinted at doing, of course, under severe pressure from both the European Union, the United States, and also NATO. We should say to increase defence spending, which, let's be honest, in Spain has been low for a long time. But of course, the left-wing parties do not want anything to do with this. More education, more health, more social policies for the far left, and forget about defence spending. That's the issue at the moment that Prime Minister Sanchez also faces as he tries to get his policies over the line with the help of these extreme parties. Final piece of news here now, and homeless at Barajas, an update on the situation there. It's a political time bomb between Madrid and the central government. Sanchez mustn't bury his head in the sand, someone said. A political row has erupted between Madrid authorities and the Spanish government over the growing number of homeless people, estimated at around 500, sleeping each night at Madrid Barajas Airport. Regional spokesperson Miguel Ángel García Martín has accused the government and airport operator Aena of responding too late and poorly, and warned the situation is harming Spain's international image. He urged the Sanchez administration not to bury its head in the sand and demanded solutions, including identifying the individuals to help them find dignified alternatives. In response to the worsening crisis, Aena has implemented new restrictions, closing the terminal overnight to anyone without a valid ticket, a companion, or airport staff credentials. A formal request was also issued to Madrid City Council to take responsibility for those affected. So far, no clear plan has been agreed between national, regional, or local authorities, leaving the vulnerable individuals caught in a political deadlock. And unfortunately, as we see far too often here in Spain, the vulnerable caught in a political deadlock between the administrations that have a role to play in this drama, the homeless situation at Barajas. The central government, obviously the airport, control the airport through Aena. You've got the Madrid City Council, that probably where a lot of these people were in the first place, sleeping in homeless shelters, not being able to access those anymore. And of course, the Madrid regional government, led by Ms. Díaz Ayuso, probably with a role to play there too. It's interesting, the response. They're trying to pass the buck from one person to another, or one group to another. Your problem, my problem, their problem, his problem, her problem. And at the end of the day, people are sleeping rough at the airport which has been, as pointed out there, could affect Spain's international image. I do not know. But the fact of the matter is that people are sleeping rough. And the survey, I think I read the other day, of the people that are sleeping rough, I think 70% were not Spanish nationals. They're immigrants here in Spain. A high percentage have jobs. So obviously working poor can't afford accommodation given the crisis in that sector as well. So some damning statistics for a country where the Economist recently claimed is the best economy in the world. Damning statistics here, people sleeping at the airport. Get them into shelters if we are a rich country. Now, into the comment section we're going to go. We'll look at some of the main comments that have been left on the channel. Fairly one-sided, this comment section here, all related to a recent video that I put out and Spain's perhaps loss of some British tourists because of alcohol prices. One here from Penfold on a different topic. I can't believe so many Spanish people are homeless. I've been going there on and off for 40 years. Mainland and islands in the Med and Atlantic have never seen homeless Spanish people sleeping on the streets, as opposed to UK major cities where you can see homeless Brits everywhere. Thanks, Penfold. Yep, the problem is more so in big cities. Madrid, Barcelona, I would say the two cities here in Spain with the biggest homeless problem. You don't really see it visible unless you're out late at night in Madrid when people are allowed to take up refuge in doorways and other places where they can find shelter. During the day, the police round people up of what I believe and take all of their possessions out of public view and are hidden in the strategic parts of the city. For example, if you go to Plaza Castilla, you can see a shelter there where people's possessions, their mattresses, their bags, their shopping trolleys, things that they have their possessions in are stored during the day. And of course, after a certain time, they're allowed to get those possessions, I believe, and head off and look for a place to sleep. I think that is the way it works. Don't quote me on that, but that has been what I have witnessed walking around Madrid. So again, walking up and down the Gran Via, not a good look to have people sleeping in doorways. So they're moved on during the day. But of course, early in the morning, late at night, you can see the homeless presence in the big cities here. So yep, it is an issue. Thanks for the comment. One here from Chris. Prices tend to increase more due to the cost of staff increasing. There's only one person that will pay for that, the customer. And it's not just Spain or bars and restaurants, it's everywhere, everything everywhere. Like it or not, it's pay or don't play. This related to the people that said they're not coming back to Spain because they're paying €10 for a gin and tonic, which is too much considering that before COVID it was only around $5 for the same thing. But of course, prices have gone up, and anyone who drinks at establishments in this country will know that prices are not what they used to be. You can still go to the supermarket, as somebody will point out in a minute, and buy a can of beer for 30 cents. But as soon as you go into a bar or a restaurant, up goes the price, especially in the tourist areas and big cities. Beers that were €2 a couple of years ago are now €3.50. Drinks, long drinks, gin and tonics, rum and cokes that were €6-7 a couple of years ago, now over the €10 mark. And go to a fancy place and you're going to be paying a lot more than that. And is it the cost of living increase, or is it the change of the tourism model that we might be witnessing, where the alcohol tourism wants to be reduced in certain parts of the country, that is Magaluf, and other parts of the country where it is an issue, alcohol tourism. Thanks, Chris. One here from Guy or whatever this is here. The alcohol prices cited are similar to those where I live, and it's excessive. It's just price gouging. Thanks for the comment there. Yeah, price gouging, I don't know. Again, it's up for debate. Is it the high cost? Is it the cost of living crisis? Is it the change of the model? Because I don't know. Some people are making up for maybe the money they lost during COVID. All of the bar operators in the country that were forced to close down for months. That could also be a thing. They're trying to get their money back. And of course, tourists that come into the country, historically willing to pay prices higher than the rest, maybe. Don't know. Again, complicated topic. Thanks for the comment there. One here from Dylan. One has to compare the retail price of bottled beer and wine in the supermarkets and the price charged in pubs, bars and restaurants and nightclubs to have an idea of just how justified the selling price plus service charge might be. Bearing in mind there is already a 25% average markup on the wholesale alcohol price, I'm often surprised the customer price is so high, charging 500% to wash up a glass even in comfortable surroundings. Strikes me as being excessive. Again, I don't think wages have increased all that much in this sector either to justify the high costs. Have rents gone up? I mean, what's going on? I don't see people saying that, their salaries have suddenly gone through the roof as a result of all of this extra money coming in on alcohol prices. But again, where's the origin here? Is it at the retail level? Is it at the wholesale level? Don't know, because supermarkets, as I said, you can still get a bottle of alcohol, a bottle of rum, gin, whiskey, whatever you want for still a decent price. I think a bottle of imported rum, probably 14, 15 euros. You can get local gin for around 10, 11, maybe 12 euros. And if you want to go to the low-cost supermarkets, the Aldis and the, what's the other one called, Lidl, you can get it even cheaper in those places there. So again, don't know where the issue is here, but prices are up. One here from Penny. Is there any truth in a recent video I saw which said people being fined for carrying cash and being stopped from taking cash out of the bank in Spain, or is that just more propaganda lies? Thanks, Penny. Yeah, I would say that your last question here fairly well sums it up. Propaganda in lies. Don't know where you saw that video. But as far as I know, you can still walk around with cash in your pocket here, and no one is going to arrest you unless the police think that you are doing dodgy things. Like, for example, you might be dealing drugs, or you might be dealing in prostitutes, and you've got a lot of money in your back pocket. They might take it off you. But if you're just a normal citizen walking around with cash in your pocket, there are limits, of course. You can't walk around, or you can't come into the country or leave the country with more than a certain amount, which has always been the case as far as I know. But if you're coming here on a holiday and you're walking around with cash, no one's going to stop you and arrest you or whatever you said here or fine you for carrying cash. It's ridiculous. And the limits, maybe there's limits when it comes to ATMs and cash transactions. Yes, that is true. I think it's 1,000 euros maximum cash transactions. And I think 3,000 is the maximum you can take out of an ATM on a daily basis. But as far as the other thing you mentioned here, being fined, don't believe it is true. So again, propaganda, lies, most likely. Another one here from Belfasta. Spain is too expensive. I've been going to Egypt this last couple of years and hotels are super cheap compared to Spain. Yeah, thanks, Belfasta. Probably one of the reasons that Egypt is a cheaper country than Spain is because it's a developing tourist economy. And obviously you don't have the freedom you have in Spain to roam around the streets and do whatever you want to do. You're probably limited to a resort in some parts of Egypt, I don't know, but political tensions have been quite high in that country in recent times, and some of the reports that I've heard is it's not the most pleasant holiday for a lot of people, I don't think, but each to their own. If you want to spend your money in Egypt, fair play to you, but again. And the final one here from Bali. 1967, a shot glass of red wine was 1 peseta in the bar Carmenchu in Fuenterrabia or Ondarribia. Times change. Yes, so do names. Bali. 1 peseta for a glass of red wine, a shot glass of red wine back in the day. 1 peseta, eh? 1967. Wow. Those were good times. What do you pay for a glass of wine now? 3 euros, which would be 500 pesetas. So, times have changed back in the old days when everything was cheap in Spain, right? Lots of people yearn for those olden days when things were cheaper. Or so they say. But, yeah, it is what it is. It was the same everywhere. I went to school back in the 1970s. You could buy a drink and a snack for lunch for $1 or $1.50. Things you talked in cents for things back then. You could go to the shop and buy a bag of lollies. Lollies for American viewers is like candies, the lollies. You could buy a bag of lollies, for 50 cents. You'd get more than you needed for a week. But of course, times change, and kids that go to the delis in Perth or, lunch bars in Australia nowadays with 50 cents in their pocket, they ain't getting much. They ain't getting much nowadays. Probably one, maybe two lollies for the price. But times change. Now, I'm going to go into the live chat section in just a moment. The backdrop needs to be changed. We can see it blurred on the background here. Here's the unblurred version. And this is a place in Avila. Heidi is the author of the photo, sent it through. The nice rainbow there with the pot of gold, obviously not far away. And a lovely spring shot in the province of Avila, which is west of Madrid, for anybody that knows their Spanish geography. Thanks, Heidi, for sending this one through. Similar pictures. This is the email address, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free to send those photos through. And, they'll go on the backdrop during the live streams and also during the other news videos that I do. If I don't make a live stream, I'll put the photo on the backdrop in the other live streams that I do. So feel free to send those photos through to that address, spainspeaks@gmail.com, or any other information that you would like to send my way. That is the email address. People that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it be by buying me a coffee, whether it's the super thanks option, longer term supporters on Patreon, thank you very much for that support. Buying me a coffee, we've got the logo, the QR code just up here as well. If you want to buy me a coffee for all the hard work that I do here putting these videos out, please, if you can, why not? Support the channel. And also the longer-term supporters on the channel membership. Hang on, let me see if I can get that out of the way. There we go. Channel membership, 99 cents a month. You can become a member of the channel, support the channel that way too. Again, feel free to support the channel if you want to. Now, the like icon will also go on the screen. There we go. This is the last thing. If you haven't hit it already, we're currently sitting at 61 likes. Don't know what the problem with the like icon is. It's there. Hit the like icon if you like the content. It's quite simple. Hit the like icon if you can. Thank you very much for that. We'll see if we can get up to a decent tally today. Now, into the chat section. Let me see if I can open it up. Let me scroll up to the top. There we go. People hitting that like icon. Andrew, valued member, first person that I can see. Talking to Amanda there, so I'll come back to that chat in a moment. A lot of inter-chat going on in the chat section, as always. High Fly, valued member 2, won't be able to catch... hoping all is well. Normally, John says that he can't catch the live streams, but no mention of it here. What else we got going on here? Here's Andrew's first comment. Evening, everyone. Hope all is well. From a cloudy and cold London southeast. Thanks, Andrew, for that. Good to see you again in the chat section. Sani, regular viewer, in the chat too. Hope you've all enjoyed the weekend. Thank you very much, Sonny. I have indeed. Janet might miss the live stream, valued member here too, because we'll be walking the dog along the seafront there, somewhere in the UK, I think. Devon is where Janet is at the moment. Sidmouth, is that, or Sidmouth? Sidmouth. Don't know how you would pronounce that, but I suppose it's something like that. Who says we have no sunshine in the UK? No one says you don't have sunshine, Janet. You just don't have a lot of it. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest about that. You don't have a lot. You don't have a lot. But when the sun comes out, you can enjoy. Chrissy coming in from Salar, Granada, 30 degrees there in the shade. Thanks, Chrissy. Valued regular viewer here also. Brad's missed the live chats this week. Haven't done any, Brad. That's why you've missed them. I've been doing normal videos, not live streams. A bit complicated in the afternoons now. got a few things on, so I'm not able to do the live streams as often. But Sundays always. Tuesdays and Wednesdays will depend on my week, how busy I am with travels and things like that. Because to do live streams when you're traveling, Brad, you need to have a good internet connection. And unfortunately, you don't often get a good internet connection when you're staying in a hotel. Wi-Fi can be a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes you don't get a good data connection. So the internet connection is the reason. But anyway, what else we got going on here? Al, value member 2, coming in from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, leaving for Roma this Wednesday night. We'll tune in next Thursday from the Eternal City. Thanks, Al, for that. Stephen, valued member 2, coming in from sunny North London. Thanks, Stephen. Good to see you too. What else we got going on here? Erica, hi everyone from Terrassa. In the midst of a typical spring weather, sun, cloud, storms. Must admit I had forgotten what spring was like in this part of the world. Thanks for that. Gigi, who's currently in Spain doing the Camino de Santiago, coming in from Gallur, I think that is, as I head to the lovely Rioja region, 10 days into the Camino, which began in Barcelona this year. Thanks, Gigi. Johnny's in the chat too. Happy Sunday, says Johnny, coming in from the States, I think, Johnny. John says, doesn't have much to add except to say that he appreciates the community. Thanks, John, for that. A lot of people do appreciate the community here. Sometimes we get a couple of scallywags in the community. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But in general, it's a good community here. No complaints when we do the live streams. Raymond coming in from Bogota, Colombia. Love the Jerez de la Frontera video. Would the heat be bearable in the summer? The heat's pretty unbearable in many parts of Spain in the summer, Raymond. Doesn't matter whether you're in the south or the centre or the east or the west of the country, it gets hot. It gets humid as well. It's just what it is. Yeah, the heat's bearable. Locals put up with the heat down there just to do what locals do. Raymond, head out in the morning before it gets too hot, get things done, and then, of course, head home. And then you leave the home again in the evening when it's cool. That's what people do. Shutters down, air conditioning on if you've got it, fan, sit outside. That's how people deal with the heat here. And in the inland cities, maybe some people have access to a pool or something, but yeah, it gets pretty hot. Kev's shed of rock covers. Nosotros vamos a Madrid en junio. No puedo esperar. I think Kev wants to say there. Thanks, Kev. Can't wait for that. Heading back to Madrid in June. Probably will be hot as well in June. Renan coming in from Madrid. Back in Madrid, Renan. Good to see you back in the capital city here. Michael lived in Tenerife for 5 years, Santa Cruz. They are tourist islands, nothing else. That is true, Michael. Not much else going on in the Canaries for the locals down there, except for the tourism industry. But they want more. They want more. They want access to housing, affordable housing, of course. They want to see more benefits from the tourism industry. Not sure how you can do that, but that's what they want. Shangan coming in from Ballarat, Victoria, Australia. Good to see you, Shangan. Not in China currently. Bundy Barindius this. C. Don't know what that means there. C. If. I think. Is that what you mean to say? If. Could be. But that's what it looks like to me. Charlie's with the far left, so as long as he gets, they get some of the sweet free money. There we go. Join the left for that free money, says Charlie. Fred saying here, hopefully the tourists will stop going, taxes will go down, and immigrants can take their place. That's not nice, Fred. There we go. But, of course, people have those opinions. Hoping that the Canary Islands goes down, Fred. It's a nasty thing to say. Hope the tourists will stop going. Shangan. The increase for defence spending to 5% doesn't have to be forever. Just the period, the war in Ukraine, where there is an obvious threat to Europe. Thanks, Shangan. Yeah, I'm sure that's the philosophy of the government, but of course, when you mention military increases, certain sectors of the population jump up because they don't want to spend money on those things, as we know. It's nothing new. It's always happened. Charlie's back here. If you can't sleep in the airport, where can you sleep? I slept in the airport once because they wanted me to check in so early, so I took a nap on the bench. Yeah, I think if you're waiting for a plane, Charlie, you can sleep in the airport. Or if you miss your flight and you've got to hang around until the next day, you can, bunk down on the floor or whatever on a seat. What you can't do is move in full time. That's what you can't do with your possessions. So that's why alternative accommodation needs to be found for people that unfortunately can't find housing. I couldn't think of anything worse than to be on the streets. But anyway, Helen's saying here, Raymond, a friend of Helen's has a flat in Jerez, and it can get quite hot, high 30s, but not always. Thanks, Helen, for that. Who's Spain at war with, says Boom Chakalaka. The Cliff of Gibraltar. Read the news, Boom. Read the news. No one's at war. Yet, except for the countries that have been at war for the last 4 years. That's the issue, according to the politicians. The people that control what where we head here in the European Union. Eric is saying, today being my Santo, Saints Day, went to the Barceloneta, is that? Celebrate the day with some friends at a restaurant called Siete Puertas, and were shocked by the number of tourists and the mess in the Gothic Quarter. Yes, Erica, tourists everywhere. Everywhere. Hike rangers coming in from a pleasant Scottsdale, Arizona. We'll be in Tenerife in November, January, as usual. Can't wait. Thanks for that. Mike coming in from Vermilion. Regular viewer is Mike. Ola Stewart. Canada elected a WEF shell. Not really up to speed on Canadian politics, Mike, but thanks for filling us in there on that. Taco Head, El Idolo, saying here, thanks for reading the news. What's your position on the controversy about RTVE mentioning the conflict in Gaza during Eurovision? I don't really have an opinion on it. People are entitled to their opinion, of course, if they want to express their opinions in a public forum that all of the Spanish taxpayers pay for. That could be an issue. I don't know. Free speech was mentioned there before as well. Limits of free speech, what you can and what you can't do. A lot of people were obviously will support those views, and a lot of people won't support those views as everything. But I don't really have an opinion on it. Iggy coming in from a sunny Jaén down there in the south of Spain. Charlie saying, I heard Spanish TV will debate whether Israel should still be in Eurovision. Yeah, a lot of people probably debate that. I think even Spain was saying today, why do we do it every year? We never win. What's the point? It's a political song contest. Everything is politicized about it. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of Eurovision. I can't see the point of it myself, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Sherbs are nice. Sherbs are nice. Hi, this is such a sad thing to be happening. Had a beachfront apartment in Xeraco for 20 years and very Spanish, and we loved it. The anti-tourism movement, I suppose that is. What else we got going on here? Let me have a look. Let me scroll down. I think I saw a super chat come in. I'll get to those here quickly. One here from Richard. Super sticker it is. From Richard. Pair character exaggeratedly stretching his arm forward to offer a cup of coffee. That's what you guys see. That's what I read here. And I think there was another one as well. Just let me see if I can find it here quickly. Yes, there is from Melissa. €2.49. Have a cup of Joe on me. Thank you very much, Melissa. I will do indeed. Thank you very much. Generous of you doing that. Victoria's in the chat as well, watching live. Just checking the time there because I've got to run off in just a moment. Let me see if I can get through some comments. Alcalá de Henares correspondent and extra virgin olive oil expert Dave is in the chat. The organic oil, apparently. Beautiful day there in Alcalá. Plenty of sunshine and warm temperatures. Getting ready for some Florida weather. Thanks, Dave, for that. Yes, the hot weather. Melissa, that we saw the super chat from before. Hi, Stu. Got here late. Hope you had a pleasant weekend. We're here in the Basque Country. It's balmy, 20 degrees Celsius and getting a bit clouded. Walk the dog, peace and quiet. Thanks, Melissa. Yes, the Basque Country. This time of the year, I'm sure the weather's starting to get better. Richard is in, back in Altea in 2 weeks. Thanks, Richard, for that. Andrew's saying Spain is cheap. Try going out for a drink in London. Yesterday, a pint of beer, $7.95, and a large G&T, £14. Yes, Andrew, thanks for that. But again, it comes down to salaries, I think. Salaries higher in London? They could be. Candy bars were 7 cents in the 60s. Near Johnny's house, had to manage weekly allowance of $1. Carefully, ha ha ha, yes, Johnny, those were the days, right, when you could go to the corner shop and stock up with cents in your pocket. Not now. Go to Australia, a bottle of water, and a shop nowadays costs outrageous prices. Outrageous price, and I won't even tell you what a beer costs in Australia anymore, because it's sad. It's sad that we've got to where we are with these prices. But anyway, what can we do? Flutter Girl here. Not fair to compare Spain to Egypt. Just the opinion, but given the prominent feedback, I'd pick Spain every time. I mean, people can go wherever they want. Flutter Girl, you want to go to Egypt for your holiday, but I don't think you, like I said here, I don't think you really can compare the two countries. Spain has a tourism model which is fairly well established, and I think Egypt would be trying to build their tourism model. But of course, you can go wherever you want nowadays. You can go to Turkey, go to Egypt, you can go to the north of Africa, plenty of places there. Go for your life. It's a free world. What else? Let's scroll up here if I can find something here. Let's have a look. What else? Let's have a look. Greetings from Texas, Wilson. There we go. Greetings from Texas. And what else? Anything else here? It's not a lot. So I'm going to start to wrap the live stream up. It's been a pleasure as always. I'll be back again on, next Sunday for sure. Maybe Tuesday, maybe Thursday. I can't guarantee it. But if a live stream goes out, you guys will get a notification if you are subscribers to the channel, of course. But if not, I'll try to put a video out on both of those days. But again, my evenings are a little bit complicated nowadays, hence the change. But things will resume to normal soon. Let's hope. Have a fantastic day. Thanks to the people that gave me a super chat. Appreciate that. Or people that bought me a coffee. Thank you very much for that also. Until the next one, hasta luego, hasta entonces, adios, and have a great Sunday.